Hello, music lovers, and welcome along to episode 13 of the Music Gaga. I'm your host, Ben Hockings. Now, as promised in the last episode, I've got a very special guest joining me today on this episode. I've known this person since high school, just like Adrian. In fact, we all went to the same high school together back in, it was Hedland Senior High School back in the 90s, and that was a good nearly 30 years ago now. So, and we lost a bit of touch over probably 20 years after school, but thanks to the magic of Facebook, we've managed to reconnect and follow each other's lives as they've gone on. So it's been great. So anyway, without any further ado, my guest tonight or today is the very talented musician friend of mine, Sam Maddison. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Ben. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you going?
Good, thanks. Thanks for the rap.
Oh, I think, no, you're very welcome. I'm sure it was underdone too, so you deserve more than that. So I'm not very good at that kind of stuff sometimes. So yeah. So, well, thanks for coming along. I'm not coming along, actually not anywhere but at home, but thanks for taking my phone call and coming on the show.
It's an honour. Thank you for asking me.
Easy as. So I want to have a chat to you today just about you and about your activity as a musician, and what you do, what kind of music do you play, and just get your experience, thoughts on the industry in general in Australia or in your area, and in Australia as well, if we can. So
yeah, sure.
I just want to start with so how did you start with your musical journey, and how were you inspired? Who inspired you?
Oh, big question. And I'll have to give the short version probably because we don't have all day to answer these. But I've always been musical since primary school. I was in the school band, high school in the school band. And after my first son was born, I actually went to TAFE and studied a little bit of music. But it wasn't until my third son was born, and he is 12 now, when I actually took it seriously. And I started to busk as a way to make some extra money, and from there managed to get gigs, and where I am now is in a very different place to busking, where I have pre-COVID been, playing at festivals and writing music and doing gigs regularly on the weekend as a full-time job. Lots of inspiration there though. I guess it could be right back to when I was in primary school and I had all those music teachers, to what you see on TV. But I think I'm in a really great network of musicians now, who are like-minded and very supportive, and they inspire me to keep going with the journey that I'm on.
And so do you have any particular influences on your music? Like, do you have an era or a genre?
Growing up, we were really lucky. My parents loved music growing up. So we listened to a lot of like the classics like the Beatles and ABBA and Elvis Presley, and they gave me a really good grounding, I think, in music and what sounds good to the ear, because the songs are written in a way where melodically they're beautiful, and they're written in a way where lyrically they're easy to remember. So I think that was a really good part of shaping my musical theory history. As I've gotten older, like I have a really broad sense of appreciation of different genres of music. Like my older son now, he writes rap music, hip-hop music. Musically, I really enjoy that. Lyrically, I enjoy that. I don't think I would go out and buy a hip-hop album, but I appreciate little bits and pieces off there that I haven't heard before. I'm really inspired by stories in music. So for me, people like John Prine, who was a country music artist, Bruce Springsteen, I find is a really great storyteller if you sit down and read the lyrics. And that's why I gravitate as a musician towards singer-songwriter style of music. I think I pretty much like everything I hear if I can hear that special something in it. So I'm not biased in any way towards one genre.
And have you heard Bruce's latest album? I think it was
his country album,
Western Star or something that's called.
Yeah, it's good. Look, I don't mind it. For me, I kind of take it as it is. It's a real like diversion from what he was previously doing, and I know that some people don't quite get it, but I really enjoyed it. So again, I think you've got to take it as it is and not have a history, or a predisposed sort of opinion on that person as an artist. Just take the song as it is. So I quite like it. I thought it was really well engineered. Some of the songs had a great story. So, yeah, I enjoyed it.
It's hard, isn't it? Like took me a couple of listens to it to appreciate the change in style.
Yeah.
It's a real it was a real diversion from what you would normally listen to with Bruce. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think sometimes Bruce Springsteen never actually appealed to me as an artist when I was younger. I'd never listened to any of Bruce Springsteen. And I actually was really lucky 3 or 4 years ago to go to a concert where he was in Brisbane.
Cool, yeah.
And as an entertainer, he was absolutely electric. Yep. And so from seeing him perform live, I went through the back catalogue of his songs and I was just amazed at how well written they were. And then he did that Broadway show that I think he wrote and produced. And he's really quite an incredible artist. But in previous years, I would never have listened to Bruce Springsteen and liked really anything. But now I listen to it at a different stage in my life.
Yeah.
I can really relate to it.
It makes more sense.
Story. Yeah. So maybe in 10 years that country album will sneak up on you and you'll really
maybe. I've still got it, so I'll give it another spin at some stage. But it's a good way of, I think, of artists attracting new fans, isn't it? Like they might play an album in a particular genre, and then that listener will go back and, like you did, listen to the other songs they produced or made, and understand what they're all about.
Yeah.
Even though you wouldn't necessarily go along and dance to those songs at concert back in the day, nowadays it makes more sense. So
yeah, absolutely, I agree with that.
That's probably.
I think.
Yep, you go.
I think there's sometimes as well what we buy on a CD might not be what the artist intended. So personally, I'm a really big fan of live music. And quite often you'll buy a CD and you might like 1 or 2 tracks, but you'll go to see the artist live and it might not be what you're expecting. Or you might see an artist live and then go and buy the CD and it's a bit of a letdown. So I think there's a difference in listening to a recorded artist through a CD and what they're trying to tell you as opposed to going to see them live. For me, live music is really, it's all about the connection that you might not always get. It might not always translate onto a recording.
Yeah, it is funny how that works. I went to saw Tiffany. Remember the 80s?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she did a tour last year with Bananarama. No, not Bananarama, sorry. Actually, it was Bananarama and also Amber. And Tiffany played her new stuff, very country, at this live music show. Blew me away. Like, her voice is amazing. So
yeah, wow.
And it was so far removed from what she did, back in her teens and early 20s. I went and bought the album because I love it. You play it in my car and it's, you just you do get surprised with that kind of stuff, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. And if you just heard it on the radio, you might not have actually connected to it, but because it was attached to a live performance first, you have like that beautiful memory smile of, that moment. So it reflects differently on what she was trying to do. So, to me, live music is key. Yeah.
A memory smile. I love that phrase. It's good. Tell me about the busking. Like, I think, is busking hard to do? Do you have to have a certain degree of, like, not no shame, but confidence to do that?
I think, I think it's, I didn't think I realised it at the time, but looking back, like, for me, just playing music in general makes me happy. So I can't even remember who suggested I do busking. Yes, actually, I do remember the exact moment. I lie. I do remember the exact moment. But I started busking to make some extra money, and I think it's a real learning curve. If you take on all the negative stuff, it's not going to be a positive experience. So you've got to look for the positive stuff in it, and you've got to look at it from a business perspective. Now, I still actually enjoy busking, even though I don't really need to do it. It's good for your skill set, because you're learning how to connect with people. You're, practicing your craft, like your instrument and your vocals as well, learning when to push and when to pull back. But it's a business lesson, and it's a people reading lesson, and it's everything all in one combined. And, it can take confidence. I think it takes a personality some people are more geared towards performance.
Yep.
And some people in music have a totally different journey.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been shy or nervous. I don't usually get nervous or shy. So for me, that wasn't an issue. But it was learning how to read a crowd, learning how to read an audience, learning that, okay, these people want to hear this, or, you know, this would be a good time to play this song.
Yep.
And just interaction. And also that's your audience. Even if they are a roaming audience, you have an impact on their life for, even if it's 3 minutes as they walk down the street, make it a good impact. Make it a positive experience for them. Yeah, so I think busking is a real skill in itself.
Yeah, I admire people who busk, actually, because I get the recorder out and maybe do some busking, but I wouldn't get any money.
You'd be surprised, Ben.
Oh, really?
You'd be surprised.
Maybe I should try it, give it a go.
Yep.
There was a guy once down here in Adelaide at in one of our city streets here, was doing some hip hop busking, and I threw him some money because he's really good. As I walked past, and he called out, "What's your name?" I said, "Oh, you know, it's Ben," and he put my name into a rap, like right then
cool.
and there. It was totally impressive. So that's when I sort of, I guess, appreciated the skill that, you know, that you need to have to do. Like, hip hop is, I guess, different because it's quite on the go type thing.
Freestyle,
Yeah. So, yeah, very impressed. As a fellow busker, what do you think about Tones and I? Because she was busking, wasn't she? Was it Byron Bay or somewhere? You know,
I think Tones had actually done the festival circuit a fair bit. I know when I was at Airlie Beach, she had been, you know, doing the festivals and doing gigs and stuff. So I think, you know, it's awesome. I think where she is now, the platform that she's on, it's amazing. She's been working hard for many, many years, you know, before all this to get to where she is now. So she was in the right place at the right time and just really struck it big, which is amazing. And I think that's, you know, that's a bonus in this industry.
I have talked about that in the past in episodes of this podcast about artists' backstories and how they weren't just magically discovered. You know, it takes, you got to be in the right spot at the right time. But to do that, you need to work on your talent for a long time before you even get there. Yeah.
And you have to have a business plan. You have to know where you want to be. And for some people, that's their end goal, is to, you know, be rich and famous. And it's different for everybody. You know, not everybody wants that in the music industry. Some people want different things from it, and for some people that's all they chase is the fame and fortune. But I don't know, few and far between get there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'd say. But it took me a while to warm to that song, actually. Is it Dance Monkey? And apparently it's still like number 18 on the charts. It's just unbelievable.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I was reading about it today. Yeah, phenomenal. Good on her. Now, how would you describe your music? Or what is your style of music?
You know, it took me about 10 years to get an answer to that, and I'm really proud that I can now tell you it's alternative country / folk. So it's the more laid back. My original stuff is the more laid back, sort of, you know, sit back with a glass of wine and you can listen to it with this, you know, it's, although as a performing artist, as a live artist for the past, you know, 10 or so years, I've been in pubs and clubs and can totally do the rocking out, getting everybody up on the dance floor. But as an original artist, it's very different. The two things are very separate. So, as an original artist, alternative country folk is my jam. Yeah.
And so obviously you play a lot live. Like, I do follow you obviously on Facebook, and you do post pre-COVID. You were
every weekend. Yeah, every weekend I was like 3 or 4, sometimes 5 or 6 gigs. There was a period there maybe about 4 years ago where I was doing anything I could because I was saving to buy a house. So I was doing, you know, some weekends I'd have 6 or 7 gigs jammed in, and they would be a mix of pubs and clubs and private functions and, you know, events, just to get my name out there, just to save money aside for deposit on a house. But now I'm a bit more established in my local area, and I think a little bit more financially secure, I suppose, which is a blessing in this industry, that I could take a little step back and be a little bit choosier with which functions I was doing. I don't do private events anymore, and that was a real, you know, a real game changer for me.
Yep.
A real like business plan changer for me. So, so I'm really lucky in that way that our area pre-COVID was very, very busy in terms of live bookings.
Yeah, because you're in Maryborough.
I'm in Maryborough, Queensland. So on the Fraser Coast, just about, we're about, I think, an hour's ferry ride away from Fraser Island, and we're about 2.5, 3 hours from Brisbane.
Okay. So for those of you who aren't aware of the geography of Australia, Adrian last time is from Perth, which is the west coast, and Sam's on the east coast of Australia. So other sides of the country to each other, but both very pretty parts of the world. Especially your way too. Very nice at Maryborough.
Yeah, it's gorgeous here. Yeah, very lucky here.
It's a big enough town to support. So what was the live scene there like before the virus?
Every club basically had live music. So I was doing there are venues that have lunchtime music, and then the same venues again will do dinner time music. So nearly every venue, and it's really nice to say that about our area. I'm very close to Hervey Bay. I'm 20 minutes from Hervey Bay, so there are a lot of clubs there as well. Nearly every venue had live music over the weekends, and that's a lot for a small community. You know, they really supported live music, which is fantastic in this day and age.
Well, how big is Maryborough, like in terms of population?
That is a very good question.
Is it like tens of thousands probably?
Yeah, I would say about, now, I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be wrong. So it could be, could it be 20,000, 15,000?
I would, ballpark, that sounds pretty fair, I reckon. Yeah,
but we're connected to Hervey Bay. They're a much bigger centre than us, and they've got a lot more people there. So for me, 15,000 is pretty good. That'll do.
That sounds pretty busy for a 15. Like, you know, for that, you know, it's not a massive city. It's, you know, it's a very tidy, neat little city. We have the best of everything here. So we've got these beautiful big old Queenslanders, and we've got this gorgeous, you know, it's green most of the time of the year. We're on the Mary River. We've got the coast is only 10 minutes, like fishing, Hervey Bay if you like nightlife. So we're really very blessed where we are. You can imagine like having the music playing in the background with the ocean view and, you know, a glass of wine, you know.
Yep.
Sounds
we're pretty
beautiful.
Lucky.
Yeah, very. Now, you have played so some of the bigger festivals around over on the East Coast, and you've been to Tamworth too, is that correct?
I've been to Tamworth a couple of times. I've just heard that Tamworth is going ahead so far for next year as well.
So can you explain to those who aren't sure what Tamworth, the festival, is about?
Tamworth Country Music Festival is, I think, one of the longest running festivals in Australia, is it? I'm not 100% sure actually, but it is a fantastic country music festival in Tamworth, which attracts tens of thousands of people every year, I think, for the last 30, 40 years. So I've only got involved in it quite recently. From, I think it was 2015, I was actually doing a festival, the Gympie Muster, which is a really big festival in Queensland. And through that, I was lucky enough to go to Norfolk Island and also to Tamworth. And I've been back to Tamworth since, and planning to go back to Tamworth this year again. So it's, the whole town has live music in every single cafe, every single pub, every single club. The main street shut down. There are buskers everywhere, and it's just Music City. It's even though it was a country music festival traditionally, it's open now. So there's all sorts of different, amazing music, amazing artists, and it's really, if you haven't done it before, you should grab a cowboy hat and some boots and come along.
Come and join in.
It's really fantastic. Yeah.
And do they award the golden guitars? Is that where it's awarded?
Yeah, yep. That's
like national...
January at the Tamworth. Yeah.
Oh, so it's a separate function, is it, to the actual festival itself?
No, it's part of the festival, because it's the home of the golden guitars, because it was originally the home of country music. So so I actually haven't attended. I've been asked to go a few times, but actually every time I tend to go to the festival and time it so that I'm there at the start and then leave before the end kicks in, so I can get back to work. and very sadly, I've been asked to go to the Golden Guitars, but I've just never bothered to turn up.
Made it. Oh, next year. You're saying that next year they're looking at having it on next year. Is that right?
Yeah. At this stage, yes.
Yeah. And have you met any famous, like the Casey Chambers or the Lee Kernigans of the?
Have I met them? I actually haven't met Casey or Lee. I've seen them performing there. Like I've seen them. I think I've probably seen more famous people from the States that I couldn't really remember their names, but then I went back later and I looked at them like, oh, that's that person. They're amazing. And it's probably, I'm not quite at that level yet. So I tend to stick to the songwriters that I know and love. But they're definitely getting around there.
Yeah.
Case is very heavily involved in the festival and the things leading up to the festival, like the Star Maker, and they have a country academy.
Oh yeah.
So Casey volunteers and goes down there for the cadets that are involved in the country music academy, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah. So they're quite supportive of grassroots country music.
I think that is what gravitates me towards country. It's the network there. Everybody is so friendly and so supportive, and you don't need to be traditional country to be involved in that network. Mm-hmm. So the first time I went down to the festival, I was told about a songwriting retreat, which is held at Nundle, which is about 45 minutes from Tamworth. Yep. And I got up the gumption to attend one of these songwriting retreats, which runs for a week during the winter, and it was just life-changing for me. I met the most incredible people, and they were from all different walks of life, wrote all different sorts of genre of music, and I've been back more than once. I've been back for another retreat, but I've also been back as a performer to Nundle.
Right.
And just the network of country people just have big hearts, really, really big hearts. They're very generous, they're very supportive, and we're open and welcome to any and all. So if you have an interest in music, regardless of the genre, you are most welcome to get in touch, and if I can help you with anything, then that's just part of what we do.
It's an amazing network by the sounds of it, and it's always been...
Yeah, it is. It is really incredible. I don't know if it's like that. Sorry, what was that?
No, it hasn't been like that forever, or?
Well, I've only been kind of involved since 2015, but I know as soon as I got involved, it really made things happen for me. Like I was propelled a lot further on the journey as an artist, knowing that I was, supported by these amazing, incredible people in country music. So for me, I think it's made a big difference.
Yeah. And I think actually I got your CD here you sent me a couple of years ago, your Lover, Mother, Child.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
my first EP. Yeah, it's an EP. So it's extended play.
Oh, is that what it
stands for?
Still got my head around that kind of stuff. And I love, along those lines, your last line on the inside of the jacket says that you're happy to realise that I'm already on my way down the road. So obviously being around those people has kept you inspired, and you are aware of where you are on your journey with music. Yeah,
definitely. Definitely. And I actually won the recording of that EP, and I had been tossing and turning about whether to release music, and I was approached by somebody and ended up winning the EP, and it was that particular person that I had approached to record it that did it. So it was just, right place, right time, really.
Yeah, no, I love it. Great EP too, I must say.
Thanks for that, Ben.
That's okay. I haven't been to Tamworth, not for the festival. I've been through Tamworth before, but I can remember my parents, they used to buy the Tamworth tapes years, back in the 80s and 90s. They used to come in like a double cassette.
Wow.
Every year they'd release, a featured double cassette of who played that year. So I became very well versed on the artists because my parents would just play it over and over. Between that and Phantom of the Opera, it was a bit of a battle.
It's a little bit of variety there.
Get my Tammy Wynette fix, basically, all that.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
So I'll talk to you now about how's the live scene been up there since the virus took hold? It's been pretty quiet, I'd imagine, or you've been...
Oh, yeah. It's been really quiet, and I actually feel sorry for some of the musicians that, you know, I was lucky that I had a second job, but you would have had to have been pretty organised to get through it. I restarted live gigs last weekend. So there are a few venues that are opening up for live gigs, but the times are a little bit shorter and the pay's a little bit different. Yep. So hopefully by September we can all kick off back again. As you know, Queensland hasn't opened its borders yet. I think are we the only state that hasn't done it yet? So we're 3, we're a little bit slow off the mark. So who knows how it's going to affect it. So we just got to wait it out and see. But yeah, it went from being very, very busy to nothing at all, basically. And some people were doing a lot of live streams. And actually, I wasn't that keen to do that because I'm a little bit lazy. So I think, to be honest. So I just concentrated on writing some new music for another album. So, and doing a lot of co-writes and stuff like that. So that's what I did with my time.
Yeah, so you were productive, and you wouldn't have had enough time to do that.
I try to stay away from social media too. So I find that if you're on Facebook, I get sucked into this vortex where 10 minutes becomes 10 hours. So for me to go live, I would have just been too much for me. Yeah,
no, I agree. It's like that, isn't it? You got to really be on top of like being disciplined with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, do you have any sort of plans? I guess it's hard to plan, isn't it, right now for post-COVID? Even though things are starting to look a bit better, for everyone. Yep. Do you have anything sort of next year maybe, or?
I have been in the studio for the last 2 years for an original album. So I've done an original EP, and I did a covers album of some of my favourite covers songs, which was a really simple, just me and the guitar. And for the last 2 years, I've been working on 10 original songs to put on a CD. Yeah. So I'm just finishing that off. I have no real plans. I know it's terrible. I'm not a very good business model sometimes. People ask me, what are your plans? You should be doing this and you should be doing that. And pre-COVID, the plan was I've been writing with some fantastic girls online. And we were going to record an album, and then we were looking at going to Nashville and doing, like band stuff plus solo stuff. That was pre-COVID. Yep. I think post-COVID, perhaps it will be the same. We're not sure. But I'll just keep writing. I'm quite happy to putt along and write songs, and I would like to have more of a digital presence and have more digital stuff available, like have, YouTube and Patreon account and things like that. But I find that balance of being online or being on the computer, I struggle with that. Yep. So for me, it's something that I avoid. So maybe I'll just keep writing songs. Who knows? I've always said the music's going to take me where it's going to take me. I don't have a plan, and I think I'll just stick to that for now. Yeah.
Do you think a true creator is more focused on the actual songwriting rather than performing, or is it half and half, or?
Oh, well, I couldn't tell you because I think it's different for everybody. For some creators, the performing is part of it.
Yep.
Because it's a show and it's a whole experience. For some, there's so many different things in music. Like, it's not just about getting out there and playing covers on the weekend. It is about, having a good business head and doing your tax and your superannuation. And it is about networking, and it is about copywriting and royalties and all those sorts of things. So I think the creator, though, is just going to create. I think that they do it regardless. I think it's just something inside them that they actually have to do, that we don't have a choice, like it's in our heads. And I think it's healthy to get that out. Whether it's one or the other, I couldn't really say, because it's different for everybody.
It's an amazing talent. I was talking to someone about this today, actually, about if you look at a song, like just the words on paper with no music, and just read it, it's really hard to make that jump to putting music behind that. Because some amazing songs, like Fleetwood Mac have some songs where you read, like Edge of 17, for example, by Stevie Nicks, is just, if you read it on its own, you go, how the heck do you make that song out of that? But they do. What is that?
Yeah.
Is that easy to do?
Some people just write lyrics. There is, you know, there is in the industry people that write lyrics only. That's
Right.
all they do. There are people in the industry that just write song titles. They don't even write the song. They just have the title of the song, and you go through the title and you pick it out and you write about it.
Yeah.
There are some people that just do the music that don't do the lyrics. So it's really, you know, it's really involved. And then there's that whole other, you know, there's classical music, there's that composition of that. There is just so much involved in music in general that we don't quite often realise. Like I couldn't even grasp the full scope of it. But there's just so much there. And you're right, like to look at lyrics and go, how can I put that into a song? I think it is talent, but it's also skill. The more you do it, the better you'll become at it, and the more you're prepared to do it with, you know, if you've studied theory or you know, you have a musical background, the easier it's going to be for you. Some people just luck out and they can just do it, and they've never been trained before, and it's just a talent that they've been given, and they, you know, it comes from all different places at all different times.
So when you write, do you write with a melody in mind, or do you write more as like a poem to start with and then music comes later?
It's always different. It's never ever the same. It's the first song I wrote. I actually wasn't even that great a guitar player. I sat down and I wrote the song from start to finish in its entirety, all in one go. Lyrics, melody, chords, everything, and it was just like I was channeled into something else. That song's on that EP that you have, Frangipani Flowers. I wrote that song for my father-in-law, who was had been really sick and passed away from Alzheimer's.
Right.
And I remember one night waking up in the middle of the night and I could smell frangipani flowers. And I got up and I wrote the song.
Wow.
And it's one of my favourite songs, yeah. It's one of my favourite songs. And so some songs come like that. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and just record a melody that's in my head that I can't get out.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll just write words and words and words, and I just keep a record of it. And I've got so many notes and so many little snippets of recordings. And some songs, you know, there's a song that I'm working on at the or that's going to be on the new album, and it took like 3 years to finish it.
Yeah, right.
It started and I just couldn't get it finished, and it's going to be on the album, but it took forever.
The things that are so short, that's quite amazing to think. You know, a song's only so many minutes long, but it can take years to actually make.
Sometimes it just pours all out of you and you've got everything, and then other times it's work. And this is why I co-write as well. I co-write with people because sometimes when you're with another person, it makes the job easier. Yeah. And usually if you click with a good bunch of people, you're going to be able to write songs with them, and that's very, very helpful to be able to co-write.
And because you play guitar too,
I play guitar. That's my main instrument.
Yep.
But back in the day, I used to do, I think it was French horn, which is not very good for songwriting. It's not very.
Might be a new niche market for you or something.
Possibly. I don't know if I can even get one from somewhere.
I don't even know what it looks like.
You'll have to Google it.
Okay, I'll get on Google then. And are you a pen writer, or do you write on the computer?
Both. Whatever's handy, both. In my phone, both. Traditionally, I was pen, but now I actually find on the computer it's better for me because it's typed out and I can cut and paste big bunches of stuff on a page, and then I can, whereas when I was writing in a book, it was lots of scribbly messes. So
like Eminem in 8 Mile, Eminem on the bus, you've got the paper like, it's just covered in words.
Plus, I would have books and bits of paper everywhere. And I'm really one of those terrible people. I know I shouldn't admit it out loud, but my writing starts really big.
Yeah.
And then I start running out of room, and it gets really, really small. Yeah, and I should have just started writing small to start with.
Out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good. So you got a new album. Is it coming out soonish, or tell us about
it was coming out. It was coming out at the start of June.
Right.
Which is which has been and gone. And actually, I have to call my producer back because he rang me today. But I haven't called him back yet. But I'm now aiming at this stage. My birthday's coming up in July, so I think it'll be a nice birthday present to myself to get it done by then.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go for end of July, and then it'll be out. I promise.
That's exciting.
I'm not sure yet. I'm I'm not really good at the marketing side. Like, I give away more albums than I sell, and I always do that because I think music is for everybody. So I get in trouble a lot for giving away CDs when I.
You sent me 2 copies. I remember that now. I got 2 copies for the price of 1. So you're a bit naughty.
I know. I quite often do that. So I don't make any money, and it's actually really hard to make money in music that way.
Yeah, it's good karma for you, though, I think.
I'm all about the karma. I'm all about the karma. I think.
Well, it's a good segue, actually, because I was going to ask you about things like royalty payments and what's the best way to support artists? Is it streaming? Is it CDs? Or so? What are your sort of thoughts on like the industry today? And is it set up right for artists, or could it be better?
Look, it's set up fine for me as an individual because I'm not really that. I'm not high up on the food chain really. I think if you want to support your artists, there's a number of ways you can do it. Buying CDs will probably be the best way. You're welcome to, I would leave them a tip. I quite often leave $20 tips for musos because I think, well, you can keep your product. I can download it online if I want. You don't get a lot of money for streaming, very sadly, and that's a whole other issue in itself. That's a whole other machine, which I don't really get involved in.
Are you on iTunes or anywhere? Or?
Yeah, you can find me on iTunes and all those platforms. I don't get on there much, but I'm there if you want to stream. But yeah, I think getting out to see live music, for me, that's the best way to support artists. Buy the CDs and just tell people.
Yep.
Just tell people I heard this really great artist. And it's difficult. I know that we can get quite nostalgic about music and we like to listen to music that we already know.
Yep.
So, and I'm guilty of it myself. I like to go back to the old classics rather than listen to somebody new. And so if you hear someone new that you really enjoy and you've got Spotify or you've got iTunes or anything like that, they can actually take you to other artists of a similar vein. So you can expand your exposure to music that you've never heard before, and you might find something that you really like that is outside of the norm. So I think that's a good way to support musicians as well, is to listen to different music than the music you've always listened to.
Yeah. So you think it's changed for the better in terms of the digital age has been an improvement?
I think it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? I think it's amazing that we've got access to all this music, but it has changed the industry. People aren't, we're not going to have the superheroes of music like we did in the past, and the industry spits them out so quickly that you don't know who's the next best thing before the next one comes along. Like if you're listening to the top 40 charts or whatever, there's always somebody new.
Yep.
I think songs that are great will last forever.
Yes,
and
regardless.
And I think the songs that are written now in the charts that are great are few and far between. Thus, they won't live forever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're a flash in the pan sort of thing, whereas you get songs like Yesterday or Anything by Queen, and these are the songs, they really do live forever. So it is hard to let those go and to let new songs take their place.
Yep.
So I don't know where the music industry is headed in that sense, but I think if we, as artists, if we worried about that, we wouldn't make any music.
That's, because you do your mind in before.
Because we're worried about the wrong thing, like if we only worried about making money, we would have been better off getting jobs working in the mines. But obviously we have a calling, which is a passion, because some people really struggle as musicians financially. So, Yeah.
Do you think the longevity is not as as much anymore? So there are a lot less artists now who will be in it for a lot longer, or
possibly, I guess because they go on to do other things. Maybe it's really hard. When I started out, so many times I was like, what am I doing? I don't enjoy this anymore. And even every once in a while now, I'm like, I should just get a job in an office and see what it's like.
Don't do that.
But but it's not, to me, sometimes it's not the songwriting, it's the connection with people when they walk past as well. That's all part of it. Like I was busking on Saturday, and it had been quite literally months since I'd done a gig. So it was my first gig back, and I hadn't played in months, to be fair. I hadn't practiced anything, and I had a couple that I have known for a few years, and they went past and they're like, "Oh, so great to see you playing." And I was like, "I'm really, I haven't played much. I hope I know what I'm doing."
Yep.
But within the first 10 minutes, it was just joyful.
Yep.
And, people walk past, and there might be people that you know and people that you haven't met before, and they're smiling, and you can see that you're actually making that positive impact on people's day. And it's just it's almost like a superpower. It's a beautiful thing to have, to know that when someone walks past and they start smiling or they start dancing with their husband, that's because of you.
Yep.
That's pretty special.
Do you think big artists miss that sometimes, that one-on-one kind of connection?
I think they get to do it on a huge level. I really do. I think I watched this special recently on Netflix about Garth Brooks, and the energy. And I was never a fan of Garth Brooks. Like, I like country music, but I don't really listen to that full-on American country. And it was a really intriguing sort of doco. It's a 2-part doco. And the energy he gives to the audience, because he knows as an artist, he's not there for himself. The fame and the fortune are a byproduct of what he does, but he is there to give everybody in that audience a good time.
Yep.
And he played a concert in Central Park in New York to 850,000 people.
What?
I know. It's amazing. You need to watch it. And so to have that weight on your shoulders of, are they going to like me? Am I going to be good enough? Is anybody going to turn up? Then they're there, and then he's got to give 850,000 people a good show to make sure that they go home and go, that was the best thing I've ever. That's a really big thing for one person, to make that many people happy in that short amount of time.
That scale is,
it's unfathomable, really. But that's part of our job as an artist, is to give ourselves to somebody else.
Yep.
You bare your soul writing your songs, but you're trying to make other people consistently happy, whether you're at a pub at 1 o'clock in the morning on a Friday night, or, you're busking at lunchtime or whatever. Your job is to make, it's not to get paid at the end of the day. It's to make other people happy and feel good. That's a lot of responsibility.
But also a very beautiful sentiment too.
Thanks.
We shall.
I take it very seriously.
We all should take it seriously, making everyone happy, I think,
Yeah, if we had that as our philosophy, I think we'd have a very different view of our workplace.
All right. Well, if you go for Prime Minister, I'm going to vote for you, Tony.
I don't know if that's an achievable outcome to make everyone happy when you're Prime Minister. I'm just putting that out there.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, that is a very lovely thought to end up on. I just want to finish up with a bit of a plug from you. So where can people find you, find your music online? Where do you play if they happen to be sort of in the area in the future? What kind of like pubs or clubs do you play at?
Sure. I think the best way to find me would be, because we all have Facebook now, is if you just search Sam Maddison, Maddison, with music on the end of it. I have a music page, so you can go there and give that a little like. And then usually every week I will do a gig guide and tell you where I'm going to play. You're welcome to send me a message. I've got my email contacts up there, and you can use the hashtag Sam Maddison Music for Instagram or Facebook and find me that way. But I'm around. I'm floating. I'm not very good at social media. I need to get an agent for that, but I'm there somewhere.
You are present in a lot of places.
Yeah, and you can find that music like through YouTube and Spotify and all those things. Just search my name.
And speaking of music, make sure you hang around after this interview's finished, because we're going to play one of Sam's songs. She's been very kind enough to let us play on this podcast, so stay around for that. Sam, thank you so much for your words today.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
It's really good to see someone so talented doing so well, being so busy as you are.
Do you know what? It's really nice. Thank you. I do. I'm very, very lucky to do what I do for a living and to still enjoy it. So.
Oh, excellent. Once all this virus stuff's gone and you're back out, busking or playing live programs, we'll get you back on again and see how you're going.
Fantastic. That'd be great. Maybe I'll be a bit organised then.
You sound organised to me.
Okay, thanks, Ben.
Okay, so talk soon. Thank you.
No worries. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much to Sam Maddison for sharing with me her musical journey thus far in her life. She is obviously very passionate about music and she's very talented, and I can't wait to share with you now a song that Sam has allowed me to play on this podcast. She sent me a collection of songs that are coming up to be released on her upcoming album, but are as yet unofficially, or not officially released rather. And out of those 3 songs that she sent me, I've chosen to play Emery's Crossing just for you. So thank you, Sam. I really hope that along this podcast journey we meet other musicians who are as passionate about music and the whole creative process behind music and your place and their place in the story of music. You are just the kind of person that I love to talk to about music, and I look forward to having you on here again. So thank you so much for sharing your story with me and with us. So without any further ado, and before I do introduce the song, we will have episode 14 coming up very soon on the Music Gaga. We'll keep it nice and light and fun after the semi-heaviness of the streaming series. So we'll probably look at some songs and just some fun stuff to do with some songs. So stay tuned for episode 14. But for now, here is Samantha Maddison with Emery's Crossing. Take it away, Sam.
Down at Emery's Crossing, where the river stones are smooth, I dig the dirt and bury deep all my love for you. And one day when the time is right and all my skies are blue, I'll find someone to mend my heart, oh, take the place of you. Ooh, ooh, slip into the waters, let it wash away my sin. The fresh cool blue of Emery's where my love for you begins. But no longer do I cry for you, no soul left in my eyes, just a vacant stare reflecting all your bittersweet goodbyes. Ooh, think of